Watching movies with a dead chick, and the gang, funny, strange, hysterical, or just plain bad. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch-along weekend. Horror and sci-fi, comedy and more. We got it all this weekend. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch-along weekend. Horror and sci-fi, comedy and more. We got it all this weekend.
Hi, I am Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. Don't forget to watch Evil Dead Chick on Deadites on Deck on YouTube. Oh, and subscribe, man!
And above all, don't forget to watch Evil Dead Chicks Top 10.
Howdy, gang. Hey, the poet, and welcome to another Evil Dead Chicks Top 10. And here in just a little bit, we're going to be talking about my top 10 films of deadly love. I know it's not yet February yet, but it's close enough for me. So we're going to be talking about those films here in just a little bit. But before we get started, I do want to remind you that tomorrow night, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be another watch-along weekend, folks. And we will be watching The Shining. This is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. And it's sure to be a good time, and I hope many of you can join me live for that watch-along tomorrow night, again, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to share again with you the several ways that you can support me in the channel, and it won't cost you a dime. And like I always say, as much as I enjoy and appreciate the super chats and the super stickers and people joining the channel, people joining my Patreon, people buying stuff from the shop, I also understand that, especially in this day and age, everybody is not made out of money. So here are some free ways that you can support me in the channel. One way is by subscribing. There's never a bad time to subscribe to not only my channel, but anybody's channel that you enjoy the content they're putting out. It's free. I'm not going to come and try to sell you cookies and candy bars or try to minister to you, try to convert you over to another religion or anything like that, right? And I don't even have to know that you subscribed. Some people prefer that, you know, whatever channels they subscribe to that nobody knows. And apparently there's a way to do it. Don't ask me. I don't know how to do that, but apparently there is a way. So I'm sure it's in the internal workings of YouTube somewhere. And also, folks, I generally look at the numbers. I'm not looking to see exactly who subscribed and who didn't subscribe. So I'm not going to come asking you, why didn't you subscribe? I'm just saying, if you enjoy the content I'm putting out, please subscribe. And once you subscribe, you can hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the new content I'm putting out. When it works, and it works well, to remind you when someone you're subscribed to has got content coming out. Okay. And a lot of times I try to do this early, but sometimes I'm a little delayed, so that notification bell can come in quite handy. Also, here's something else you can do. Once you've subscribed and hit that notification bell, you can hit the like button on stuff that you particularly enjoy. And if you love it all, hit that like button all across the board, folks. And here's one more way you can support me in the channel. Excuse me, folks. I've been sneezing like crazy since last night. But here's one more way that you can support me in the channel, and it won't cost you a dime, won't cost anybody you tell about the channel a dime. And that's by sharing with friends and family members my channel that you think might enjoy the content that I'm putting out. And the channel handle is at deaditesondeck.com. If you feel so inclined to give a super chat or super sticker, or join my channel or join my Patreon, that is fine and dandy, and I would appreciate that as well. If you feel so inclined to peruse my shop at deaditesondeck.com, it's easy, it's simple. If you can remember the name of my channel, you remember the name of the shop. And you can go there and get, t-shirts with horror designs, etc. on there. But I'm not just about horror, folks. So if you're not a big time horror fan, or you have other needs, like you've started a new business or side business and you need shirts and hats and tote bags and what have you, mouse pads, whatever, that you want to put a new logo on. If you haven't even started on a logo, I will help you with that. I will work with you on creating the type of logo that you want. If you have a friend or family member that you want to get some t-shirts and hats and etc., made with a new logo, hey, I'm your girl. Again, I will work with you to create whatever logo that you want to put on shirts, okay, or hats or tote bags or mouse pads or what have you, okay, even tumblers. I can put stuff on tumblers as well. I'm planning on putting new stuff on the shop site here before long. I know I'm a little bit delayed on stuff, quite a bit delayed on stuff sometimes. But if you're wanting something that you don't see on the site, even if it's horror related, there is a handy dandy form on the homepage of the site, and you can fill it out and tell me what it is you so desire. Okay. And I will offer you a discount for bulk orders, and everything's a flat rate shipping of $6. It doesn't matter if you buy 1, 10, 50, 100, whatever items. It's still $6. Now, you can't get that very many places. So head on over to deaditesondeck.com and check out all I have to offer. If you don't see what you want or see what you like, let me know on that form. I am willing to work with you. I have worked with people in the past to make special things for Christmas presents, etc. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to these movies, folks. And remember, as always, these are not in any particular order, from the best to ones that are just kind of meh for me. Your pick is the original My Bloody Valentine. Well, I had that in my list, a poet. But these are not in any particular order. These are just my top 10 films of deadly love. So the first one I want to talk about is Fatal Attraction, folks. Now, I'm going to talk about the one that was the precursor to this in this list as well, which I think started all and did it, slightly better than Fatal Attraction. But I saw Fatal Attraction first, and I just fell in love with it. And it's a really, really great thriller. And I have heard that is where the expression bunny boiler came from, because sadly, the crazy lady in this played like by clean clothes. Very, very well played by Glenn Close as Alex Forrest in this. She does boil a bunny, folks. Not for real, but within the movie. But Fatal Attraction. What did Fatal Attraction tell men, at least back in the late 80s? Don't have one night stands, folks. Guys, don't screw around on your wife, guys. It could end very badly for you. So we have Michael Douglas's character of Dan Gallagher, who appears to be a happily married man with a little girl, who he seems to love and adore his wife and his little girl very much. So he works for a legal firm, and they end up going to a party, and it's a party for a guy that's wrote an exercise book, and it's like samurai exercise or something. I can't remember the exact name of the book, but so he's kind of hanging around, with his wife and his friend that's in the firm and his friend's wife. And then he notices Alex, and he's just instantly drawn to her. No crime, really, that you're instantly drawn to somebody unless you act on it, right? So he ends up going to the bar to get some drinks, and he gets to talking to Alex, and he thinks that's going to be it. He says, I got to get back to my wife, and yada, yada, yada. And probably in his mind, he thinks he's never going to see her again, right? Well, it turns out she is, they have a weekend meeting. His wife has gone to visit her parents and to look at a new house because they're wanting to move out of New York City, and are wanting to move more out in the country. Okay. As probably a lot of people would that have lived in the city a long time. So his wife, his daughter, they're out of town. It's just him and the dog. And when he goes to his weekend meeting, Alex is sitting in for someone else that couldn't be there in the meeting. And when Dan leaves the meeting, it's raining to beat the band, and Alex shares her umbrella, and they decide to go have some coffee, lunch, whatever. And before long, they're doing it anywhere and everywhere, including in an elevator. And some of the spiciest sex scenes that I've seen in a movie. And okay, they kind of both agree that, this is going to be a one-time thing. My wife's coming home. I got to, and then things get weird and get bizarre as the movie goes on. And you see that Alex is not what she appeared to be. She's a psycho bitch is what she is. And she's not willing to let Dan go at any cost. Now, she tells him she's pregnant. We're never really sure, or I was never really sure as a viewer of this film, whether that was just all a ruse and she got somebody to pose as a doctor and, gave Dan the card, and he called and they said, congratulations, whatever. So it keeps getting worse and worse and worse until, after they move out to the country, um, they go to visit his wife's parents. They come home, and that's when they find his little girl's bunny boiled. And then he has to tell his wife what's been going on and who it's been going on with. So in the final act of this movie, the shit really hits the fan, and Alex, who was a psycho bitch to begin with, becomes ultra psycho bitch and tries to kill or intends to kill Dan and his wife. And one of the more spectacular scenes, ending scenes, or last quarter of a movie that I've seen. And I don't consider this a horror movie. I do consider it a thriller. Certainly, there are horrific elements to it. This guy, one time thing, fling with a woman, and he thinks, but they always think, right, that, I did this one thing, I can live with the guilt, I'll go back to my wife and my kid and everything will be fine. But they get with the wrong person and it becomes a deadly obsession. And so that's why I wanted to include Fatal Attraction on this list of the top 10 films of deadly love. All right. So the next one is Schizoid. And I'm planning on having a Evil Dead Chicks slumber party. We're going to be watching Schizoid. You can see old Klaus Kinski is on this as a psychiatrist. Okay. So Schizoid, I don't know how many of you guys and gals have seen Schizoid, but I absolutely love this one. I think it's a great Giallo-esque slasher. And, it's one of those that you can't, sorry if y'all see the scratch. My little Darcy got a hold of me the other day. You have a killer that's kind of disguised. You don't really see who it is until the end. However, when you watch it a second time, maybe third time, you can pick up on clues about who it is, right? So you have this therapy group that is coming to see Dr. Vales, who's played by Klaus Kinski. And Klaus Kinski seems to have a rather odd relationship with his daughter. And most of the oddness seems to come from her side. Her mother has died, and she's a very bitter girl. She blames her father for caring more about his therapy groups than caring about her mother. And she acts out a lot. And so some suspicion is cast on her because we have someone from Dr. Vale's therapy group who's the main character in this. And her name is Julie, and she writes a column called Dear Julie for a newspaper, or I think it's a newspaper. It could be a magazine, where her soon-to-be ex-husband works. She's got the hots for Dr. Vales. Dr. Vales has evidently got his hands in a lot of pies, too. As you know, Klaus Kinski, he was known for being quite handsy with the ladies in real life. Well, he's quite handsy with the ladies inside this movie as Dr. Vales. He's basically almost every woman in the therapy group he's screwing, basically. So, but Julie, he seems to have a particular fondness for. But the reason why Julie's going to this therapy group is because she's having trouble with her soon-to-be ex-husband, who is head of the newspaper that she writes the Dear Julie column for. So Dr. Vale's daughter, we see this clearly. She is sending little notes to Julie, threatening her. But we realize early on that Allison, Dr. Vale's daughter, is not really a threat. And that whoever is doing the killing of the members of the therapy group, or at least the women members of the therapy group, I should say, is apparently older than Allison is in the film. So we've got somebody dressed all in black, and they've got a very sharp pair of shears, which may give you a hint to who the killer is. Okay. So I don't want to give this away. For those of you that haven't seen Schizoid, and who may be thinking that the watch along might be their, the slumber party might be their first time, watching Schizoid. Okay. But it does have to do with obsessive love again, and how deadly it can become. Okay. So again, I love Schizoid. I think it's a great slasher. I think it's very Giallo-esque. And it's got some recognizable people in it, because with the exception of Klaus Kinski, good old Doc Brown's in this, folks, from Back to the Future, right? And this is not to be confused with Schizo, which is a Pete Walker slasher, and that's one that I've talked about too, right? So Donna Wilkes plays Dr. Vale's daughter in the film. Mariana Hill plays Julie. Craig Wasson is also in this as Doug, Julie's soon-to-be ex-husband. And Christopher Lloyd, like I said, Doc Brown, he plays Gilbert, one of the members of the therapy group. And this is the first time I've ever seen Christopher Lloyd play a kind of, I guess, kind of creepy character. But so, like I said, you have some recognizable names in this film. Fun little slasher, Giallo-esque slasher. And if you haven't seen it, I would urge you to see it. Try to find it for free at first. Yeah, I did not have that one on my list, but that's another great one. The Poet, you say another pick is The Stepfather, the original. Yes, I could definitely see that. And I don't know why I didn't think about that one. All right, so shame on me. I only have a DVD for this one, and that's The Crush with Alicia Silverstone. I have that one next on my list, Tom. Play Misty for me. Hey, Gory Tiger. So, I don't know how many of y'all have seen The Crush, but this was my first intro to Alicia Silverstone. Before she was in Clueless, or before I saw her in Clueless and all that. Written and directed by Alan Shapiro. So, again, you have Nick, played by Carrie Yules, in this film. This was my introduction to Carrie Yules as well. So he moves into town. He's a writer. Jennifer Rubin's also in this, kind of plays Nick's love interest in the film. And so he's looking for a place to stay. So he comes upon Adrian, her parents, who are really rich, give Adrian anything she wants, basically. But Adrian always wants more. And so she sets her eyes on Nick, who ends up renting the guest house from her parents. And at first he thinks, oh, it's a crush, she'll get over it. But it turns deadly because Adrian basically becomes obsessed with Nick. And anybody that gets in the way of her obtaining Nick can end up dead, including Nick himself when he crosses her. I thought Alicia Silverstone was fantastic in this. And I thought I thought this was probably one of Carrie Yule's best roles was in The Crush. And I think this may have been Alicia Silverstone's first film. And she's supposed to be 14. She's probably older than that in this, but very wicked, wicked girl. Extremely wicked girl. But another one about, obsessive love that turns deadly. Very well made film, The Crush. If you haven't seen The Crush, I would advise you to try to find a for free version. I need to see if there's like a Blu-ray or something of this. I've had this DVD forever. All right, so as Tom mentioned, the next one is Play Misty for Me. Now, this is the one that I was referring to was the precursor and the one that does it quite a bit better than Fatal Attraction. Dare I say it. Both of them were on my list. And before I saw Play Misty for Me, I thought Fatal Attraction was the bee's knees, right? When it came to obsession and stalking and love gone wrong and all that. One night stands gone wrong. So that was before I saw Play Misty for Me, right? So you have Clint Eastwood, who plays Dave Garver, who's a jazz DJ. And he has a girlfriend who he very much loves, it appears. But he also has a woman that calls into his show every time he does a show and says, "Play Misty for me." And that woman is Evelyn, and she's played by Jessica Walter. And Jessica Walter does an excellent job of doing the part of the psycho bitch who starts out, nice, flirtatious, kind of shy, all of that, and turns deadly really quickly when Dave kind of tries to push her off. You don't do that to these women. You didn't do it to Alex Forrest in Fatal Attraction, and you don't do it to Evelyn in Play Misty for Me. And this is a very tense, very taut thriller. The pacing is fantastic in this. The pacing is probably better in this than it is in Fatal Attraction, although I love both of the movies. Hey, kids. You say, have a good stream. I got to get ready for mine. And if you all watch the replay, thank you, kids. I appreciate you stopping by. And thank you for watching it on the replay as well. But this one, like I said, this one does it one better than Fatal Attraction. Even though both of these are on my list. I mean, the wicked woman, the wicked, obsessed, crazy, psychotic bitch woman was done, it couldn't have been done better than done by Jessica Walter. And of course, Clint Eastwood directed this, and he stars in it. And it's just, I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. Yes, realistic, frighteningly realistic, because I would be willing to bet that both this film and Fatal Attraction have given a lot of men second thoughts if they were thinking of cheating, or just maybe not thinking of cheating, maybe thinking of having a one night stand with a woman. It's probably giving them second thoughts about doing that, about should I? Because she seems nice, but she could be a psycho. So these are, both of these films are cautionary tales. Play Misty for Me and Fatal Attraction are very much cautionary tales. Needy attachment gone crazy. Exactly. Exactly. And these women go from 0 to 100 in seconds, it seems. You know, they go from being, they seem like average, normal women to they become somebody that would slit your throat in your sleep, basically. So if you have not seen Play Misty for Me, I urge you to find a for free version. Of course, if you don't own it, try to find a for free version and watch this thing. And watch Play Misty for Me and Fatal Attraction back to back if you can, and do a comparison between the two films. Tommy said, great movie, and it's great. It's a woman and not the obsessive man. Yeah. I mean, this was early on in these types of films. And I think it is, I've seen a ton of films with an obsessive man. So you are right, Tom. It's, and this is coming from a woman. I don't mind that they're showing the obsessive side of females in these two films. So that's Play Misty for Me. The next one is a slasher directed by Joe Zito, and Tom Savini did the special effects, and that's The Prowler. And why is this one on my top 10 uh, list of films of deadly love? It's because, see this guy dressed as a soldier? We have a guy who gets a Dear John letter while he's still on the battlefield. His sweetheart can't wait for him anymore, and she's taken up with another man. Doesn't take too kindly to getting a Dear John letter, does he, folks? Because he ends up coming back after the war in the 40s and using a pitchfork on his sweetie and her new man. Then we fast forward to what was modern times in the 80s, where the school is finally going to have another dance. But the Prowler is still around, and he's still pitchforking his way through people. So I really like this one. I think it's a good, I consider it a slasher. Is it low budget? Heck yeah. But it has great special effects by Tom Savini. I just absolutely love it. I love it from the first time I saw it. Now, I have heard people say that the Prowler's kind of slow. I don't agree with that. It does have a little bit of stretch of time where there's not a lot of killing happen. Not a lot of chasing happening in this. But overall, I think that the film is absolutely fantastic, and one of those slashers that I really like to watch quite often. And that's The Prowler. So the next one, Uncle Bill likes to refer to this film as like watching old people eat. He's told me that on more than one occasion. But that's He Knows You're Alone. And He Knows You're Alone has Tom Hanks in it. Like early Tom Hanks before he became a big star. He plays Elliot, a psychology student who is a little bit too much into people being scared. I'll just say that. Um, but this is directed by Armin Mastriani, and it has my man Don Scardino in it too. I love Tom Hanks as well. Tom Hanks really shines in this, even in the few scenes that he's in. But Don Scardino, I was absolutely in love with Don Scardino in this movie as Marvin, the morgue attendant who's studying forensic medicine because after college, I guess that's what he wants to go into. But the lovable morgue attendant who's still in love with his old girlfriend, played by Caitlin O'Haney in this. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is like watching old people eat. It and how does this fit in with Deadly Love? Well, it's about guys that got jilted at the altar, or they got, you know, their beloved ran off with somebody else and was going to marry somebody else. And this happened to this cop who is trying to find the killer that killed his fiance on the day of their wedding, because she was dating this other guy, and he comes in on the day of her wedding when she's upstairs she's in her wedding dress and she's all ready to go and she's looking beautiful, and Ray comes in and stabs her to death. So Ray gets sent away to the mental hospital. He breaks out, and the cop was going to marry that lovely lady that got stabbed to death, and he wants to catch this guy. So we have a new girl and her friends who apparently all of them are planning on getting married at one time or another. But Amy, played by Caitlin O'Haney, is planning on getting married first. And she's marrying this guy, but this guy doesn't really want her to have a career or anything like that. But when she was with Marvin just was absolutely in love with her, didn't care if she had a career, all of that. But her new man, the one she's planning on marrying, is wanting her to quit school and all of that. So she's having doubts. All right. Well, Ray is on his way back to his hometown, and he's ready to stab a bunch of girls that are going to get married. And this has one of my favorite scenes of a head in a fish tank in a horror movie. And I urge you guys and gals to watch this and tell me that this is like watching old people eat. Because that's what Uncle Bill says, folks. Uncle Bill from Dead Pit Radio, right? I think it's better than that, right? Or I wouldn't have had it on this list. So that's He Knows You're Alone. We got three more, folks. Or not three more. We got four more. Yes. You say, remember what happened to Phil Hartman? Yes, Tom. So the next one is on the other side of Schizoid. This is a double feature. This is X-Ray with Barbie Benton. If nobody remembers who Barbie Benton is, Barbie Benton was a Playboy playmate, folks, back in the day. And I didn't care anything about that. But X-Ray is the tale of deadly, unrequited love. Because when Susan was a little girl, her and her friend, I don't know if it was her boyfriend, but it was a boy, and they were home alone on Valentine's Day, and they were having Valentine's cake and having a good time. And Creepy Harold shows up and looks in the window at them, and then he leaves a Valentine for Susan. Well, Susan finds the Valentine, and her and her friend laugh, and that makes Harold really angry. So he comes in there and kills the little boy. Um, and Then years later, Susan's getting a promotion in her job, so she has to get a clean bill of health for her new insurance or whatever. Well, someone, and we can only assume it to be Harold, right? Someone wants to kill Susan, and they're willing to kill anybody around her to get to her. So she has to go to the hospital to get her test results. Her She's not really on good terms with her ex-husband. She's got a new man, and he's the one that takes her to the hospital to get her test results. She's like, I'm going to go in. You can just stay out here. I'm not going to be gone very long. Well, the crazy guy that you see in the window of the hospital with a hospital mask, and he's dressed like a doctor and all that stuff, he messes with her test results, makes it look like she's got something terminal, apparently. And so the weird doctor that finally, takes care of her and looks at her test results and stuff like that, admits her to the hospital. And this is the weirdest hospital I've ever seen. And if you watch this movie, you'll see what I mean. And there's creepy characters all over the place, including the doctor that does a very touchy-feely exam on Susan. Okay? Has her get naked for it and everything. So if you're a Barbie Benton fan, you'll love it, right? So, yeah. So this, again, X-Ray is a movie about unrequited love that turns very, very deadly. All right. So here is the poet's pick, and it was on my list too. The original My Bloody Valentine. Okay, so the original backstory to My Bloody Valentine of Harry Warden really doesn't have anything to do with love gone wrong, right? But you do have a secondary story of a love triangle, love gone wrong, and somebody's out to kill anybody and everybody that is flirtatious, that's having sex, that's having a good time being with their significant other. That person's got it in for all these people. Okay. And so they get it with a pickaxe, just like Harry Warden did years ago. Right. So I think this is not only a fantastic tale of deadly love, but also a fantastic Canadian slasher. This is when the Canadians were doing it fantastically back in the day. Back in the late 70s to early to mid 80s, they were on fire with making stuff like this, right? And this was directed by George Mahalka. Has Paul Kelman and Lori Halyard, Neil Affleck. Music by Paul Jaja, who did a lot of Canadian horror movies back in the day. He did the music for them. Was actually put out by Paramount, folks. And now, if you watch it, you can watch the totally uncut version of My Bloody Valentine. It's one that I'm definitely going to be watching again, upcoming, for the Valentine's Day holiday month. So that one, X-Ray also has a Valentine's Day theme to it as well. All right. So this one, I like the movie a lot, but I don't yet have a physical copy of it, and that is Hard Eyes. This was one that I did a Evil Dead Chick Eats Crow a while back, because it was one that I just thought I was going to hate it, because I saw the trailer with the glowing heart eyes mask, and I was like, this is going to be goofy as hell. This is not going to be what I want to see. You've never heard of this movie? Oh, wow. This one came out I think it came out last year, Tom. And I absolutely love it as a cool little slasher film with good kills in it. Um, and it definitely has to do with love uh, gone wrong or turning deadly. And it even says romance is dead. And it most certainly is in this movie. So I can give you a little more on the plot. I need to buy this daggone thing because I liked it so much, but I'm trying to save money right now. But we have Jordana Brewster in this, Devon Sawa's in it. Let's try to see if there was. Yeah, the release date, Tom, on this one was February 7th, 2025. So it was just before Valentine's Day last year. So we've got a masked maniac with glowing red eyes returns every Valentine's Day to slaughter unsuspecting couples. When a cynical and ad executive and her hopelessly romantic colleague become the next target, they decide to fight back to end the reign of terror. And they call it a romantic comedy slasher film directed by Josh Rubin. I mean, I thought of it more on the horror side than I did. I mean, there was some comedic stuff, but I didn't find it to be like a romantic comedy. There was some humorous stuff, but I would leave that up to the viewer to decide whether Hard Eyes is, considered a romantic comedy as well. Yeah, streaming it is a good idea, Tom. If you can stream it for free and not have to pay any extra, then I would definitely suggest that. So that is Hard Eyes. And the last one I want to talk about, and people may think that this is a stretch. They may think it's a stretch, but that's Scream. And I kept seeing this show up on lists that I was looking up for Love Gone Wrong. Okay. So, spoilers, folks. I'm going to give spoilers here because Scream's been out for a long time, folks, since the 90s. So, if you have not seen Scream and you think you might want to watch it and you don't want to have something spoiled for you, I always try to warn you in advance if I'm going to give spoilers. And I think I can safely give spoilers for Scream because it's been out so long. Okay. Hard Eyes, stuff like that, or maybe some little known films that I think people might not have seen. I don't like to give away spoilers, right? And I don't like to give spoilers away unless I forewarned you in advance. Okay. So, fair warning. I'm going to give spoilers away because I've got to explain how this ties in with my films of deadly love. Okay. So, Scream came out, 96, 95, 96, directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson. This film came out at a time when horror was like dead in the water, folks. And this has been credited with kind of reviving the horror and or slasher genre. Okay. They milk Scream so much it's a whispers now. I do agree with that, Tom. But the original Scream I absolutely love because it was everything I think a horror fan wanted in a movie at that time. Okay. So we have Neve Campbell who plays Sidney Prescott in the film. And Sidney's mother was viciously assaulted and murdered the year before. And now someone is calling both Sidney and her friends and saying, "What's your favorite scary movie?" That became the catchphrase around that time. What's your favorite scary movie? Right. So we have Drew Barrymore, who is kind of the Janet Leigh of this film, because she's front and center on the poster. You think she's going to last throughout the film, or through most of the film at least. No, she gets killed off very viciously at the beginning and gets a call from the killer in the film, who starts off, what's your favorite scary movie? Right. All right. So we go along, don't really know who the killer is. Yes, excellent script. I think it's probably Kevin Williamson's best script. And I thought it was a kind of a great comeback for Wes Craven as well. Um, so we have Sydney struggles with, still dealing with the death of her mother, dealing with Gail Weathers, played by Courtney Cox, who is a reporter who wrote a book on the guy that Sydney said assaulted and murdered her mother. And so, it's typical, slasher movie stuff, but it was smart, and it was, dare I say it, hip and stuff for the time. Like I said, horror was pretty much dead in the water when Scream came out. So Sydney doesn't want to give it up, so to speak, to her boyfriend Billy, played by Skeet Ulrich, and that's until near the end of the film. And here's a big spoiler, so if you haven't went away by now, please go away by now. But this is why I'm explaining this is a film of deadly love, okay? Because find out Billy and his friend Stu, played by Matthew Lillard, are the killers, and they are also the ones that assaulted and murdered her mother a year ago. It wasn't cotton wearing. No. It was these two dumbasses. So Sydney almost finds out too late what's going on. And is almost slaughtered by Billy and Stu. And so are almost Gail Weathers and Deputy Dewey Riley, played by David Arquette in the film. Rose McGowan's also in this film. Very well made film. And like Tom says, an excellent script. Perfect director for this. A great, late 90s slasher. And I feel like it did revive the horror genre. It definitely revived the slasher subgenre. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about Scream. I would have been just fine if they had stopped after the first Scream, because I could really take or leave second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever, however many they want to go, because they've been uneven about how I liked them. And I hated part 4. Absolutely hated part 4. I could go on for a whole hour about how much I hated part 4, but I'm not going to on here. But that brings me to the end. Sorry, folks, I've also had this cough. That brings me to the end of this edition of Evil Dead Chicks Top 10 Films. And this is Evil Dead Chicks Top 10 Films of Deadly Love. Stay tuned for more Evil Dead Chicks Top 10. I've got a germ of an idea for another one, but I'm not going to tell y'all about it now. It will be a surprise, folks. Let's see if I can get 10 of them together for this particular germ of an idea that I've got. But be sure, if you can, to tune in for the watch along weekend tomorrow night, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. It's sure to be a good time. Bring your popcorn, your soda, and whatever else that you want. And we're going to have a great time. And also, hopefully you can, guys and gals, can join me for my path to becoming a positive renegade on Sunday night starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's going to be chapter 7. It's time for a reality check, folks. So I guess that is it for me for tonight. But as always, yes, the Stanley Hotel. That's right, Tom. As always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Friday night, folks, and an awesome weekend. If I don't catch you guys either in the watch along or my path to becoming a positive renegade or both. And I'll see everybody next time.